Welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast, where it's all about fixing your marriage without your man's conscious effort so that you feel desired, taken care of, and special, even if your relationship feels completely hopeless. I'm Laura Doyle, and today I'm talking about the top 5 signs your marriage won't last. My guest, Laura, shared her story as part of the 5-Day Adored Wife Challenge in January, and she is graciously letting me share it here on the podcast also. Laura was ready to leave her marriage of 2 years because of all the fighting and the Cold Wars. Then she had what she calls just a little insight that changed everything. Today, she has a lighthearted marriage full of laughter and fun. She's going to tell us what she did so you can do it too. That's coming up. But first, let's talk about the top 5 signs your marriage won't last. Sign number 1 is that you believe it won't last. Maybe your husband is saying he's out and that it's over, or maybe he's more interested in someone else. That's terrifying and painful. And it's understandable that you'd start to believe that it's not up to you whether your marriage will last. But that's just his side of the equation. What about your side? Do you have the desire to stay married? It's scary to admit that you want your marriage when it seems so hopeless. But having the courage to acknowledge your desire and honor it can be powerful. So the question to ask yourself is not, will he stay married to me, but do I want to continue to stay married? Sign number 2 that your marriage won't last is that everyone around you is telling you to leave. Maybe when you ask yourself if you want to stay married, your answer is, are you crazy? This marriage is a complete wreck, and I don't see how it's going to get any better. That's more than a little discouraging. And as a mere mortal woman, you're going to need to talk about this with other people who may also get scared when you tell them what's going on at your house. And then, because people love you and they want to protect you, they may logically get scared and tell you to just leave. They'll say, you deserve better. Whether it's your family, your friends, or marriage counselors telling you that, it's likely to scare the stuffing out of you, especially if they're all saying it. But does everyone telling you that you should leave him mean that they're right? No, they're not the experts on your life. You are. They don't know the reasons, probably good ones, that you chose your man. This brings me to the 3rd sign that your marriage won't last. Number 3 is that you focus on what's wrong with your husband. You may have forgotten what those reasons were that you chose him, or you worry that you made a mistake when you fell for his charm or his great dance moves, when now you see that he also has anger issues or addictions or just isn't interested in family life the way you thought it would be. But what were those reasons you chose your man? Just listing them, even if you think they're the wrong reasons, it can be a powerful way to change your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. Number 4, you forgot you have the power to make it playful and passionate. And another sign that your marriage won't last is that you think you're the victim. That's what I thought too. I thought I was the victim. Everything was happening to me. So I was stuck having to do all the chores, make all the money, and be the grown-up in the marriage while he just lounged around watching TV. I was so resentful. And the only way I could see becoming empowered was to dump this husband and get a better one who wouldn't take advantage of me and make me do everything, and one who was more affectionate too. But it turns out the person making me do all the dreadful work was not him. It was me. It was me. And once I discovered my own power to be happy, it was incredibly contagious and inspiring. Suddenly, our relationship became playful and passionate right when I realized I had the power to show up as my best self, who's no victim. Talk about an aha moment. It took me a long time to get my jaw off the floor when I realized how much power I had. Dang. Number 5 sign that your marriage won't last is that no one ever taught you 6 intimacy skills. No one taught you. Back when I was looking for signs that my marriage wouldn't last, I was finding what I was looking for. Makes sense when I say it that way now, but I didn't know back then. I thought I was being smart and prepared when I looked for that evidence, never that I was being cynical and creating that outcome because I was so focused on it. I see that so clearly now. But in my defense, no one had ever taught me the 6 intimacy skills. I had no idea there was another way to be besides terrified, vigilant, defensive, and resentful. Maybe you can relate. I sure hope I'm not the only one, because now that I know the 6 intimacy skills and I practice them and I hang around other women who practice them all the time, it seems very obvious that my marriage will last till death do us part. And that's what I desire. And I'm confident my husband does too. And when I look for the signs of that, that my marriage will last, I find them abundantly all around now. Like how we were laughing so hard while he chased me around the kitchen island last night. And then he caught me and he held me tight. And it was so fun. And I much prefer this new habit I have of looking for signs that my marriage will last, which definitely took some effort at first because I had a well-worn habit of looking for signs that it wouldn't last before. My new habit is a lot more fun and it feels as light as breathing now. So here's my invitation to you. Instead of looking for the top 5 signs that your marriage won't last, write down the top 5 signs that your marriage will not only last, but that it could also thrive. What are those signs? And maybe I can help you get started, because just you listening to this podcast and getting reminded about your power and about the 6 intimacy skills might be one pretty solid sign that your marriage will last. Now, that's a sign worth paying attention to. If you're wondering how to get started with fixing your relationship and making it shiny again, then you need a roadmap. Get 6 simple steps to follow that will set your relationship up for success. Discover 3 common mistakes that wives make trying to fix their relationship that just make things worse when you download my free Adored Wife Roadmap. You can do that at getcherished.com. Go to getcherished.com now to get your roadmap in minutes. I am going to bring on my special guest now, who's got like the best name in the world, the name Laura. So, Laura, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to get to hear your whole story. Oh,
Hi, Laura.
hi, there she is. Oh, great. Thanks for joining us today. So, Laura, I can't wait to hear everything, but tell us, well, let me start by asking you, how long have you been married?
Um, okay, so I've been married. We got married in July of 2020, and this is my third marriage.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, thank you
yeah.
so much
Mhm.
for being so courageous and coming and sharing as part of the challenge today.
Thank
S-
you. I'm
So,
excited.
so, oh, good. I'm so
Mhm.
glad. I'm excited too. So, what was happening in the bad old days? Let me ask that.
Um, so the bad old days were not very long ago. I feel like um, uh, I had like a mind shift just not too long ago. And I first uh, started with your program in August. I was part of the challenge in August. A friend of mine sent me your podcast. I was listening to your podcast, and then I decided to join the challenge. And then I decided to become a ridiculously happy wife. And before that, um, it seemed I was doing a lot of stuff that I didn't know that was wrong. I mean, I hear in group coaching calls I didn't know I was being disrespectful. I didn't know at all. Um, and my husband would tell me that that was so disrespectful, and it would take me a day or two to really un- understand how I was being disrespectful. I
No one ever
pretty independent.
told you,
No,
right?
no,
No one ever
no,
showed you what respect
no,
looks
none of these
like.
skills. I
Yeah.
never was introduced to any of these skills, and I feel like the previous two marriages, if I look back now, a lot of the same stuff was happening.
Mhm.
I just didn't realize that I was the one of the key players. I thought it was their fault, and so it your program just changed everything. And then I started getting individual coaching, and then I was really able to see uh, my part and making baby steps. Um, I am using, I feel like, to be quite honest, I'm using duct tape a lot more because I still have a problem in apologizing. So I think that's still something that I struggle with. And so I'm quiet, but that doesn't mean that something's not building up inside where I have some resentment and I think that this is not fair or that's not fair and why do I have to do this work? So
Yeah. So, well, I love all this. First of all, this is fantastic because what I hear is you were very open and very courageous and decided to do some things that were
mhm,
totally different than what you've been doing before, so you could get a different result, a better marriage than you'd ever had before. And it was kind of eye opening for you to learn about respect, and that your
yeah,
husband was saying you were disrespectful, but you didn't know what he meant by that.
not at all. Yeah, not at all.
So what were some of the things you guys were fighting about? Was it fights mostly, or was it like Cold Wars with no talking, or
It was
what?
both. It was
It was
both.
both.
There was
Yeah.
some pretty blowout fights and then a lot of cold wars. I felt like early on in our marriage, as soon as I moved in, um, I felt like there was just all these things that were wrong, and already I was journaling how I wanted out after a short amount of time, and that same pattern happened in my second marriage. I was already ready to leave and not work it out. So it was. I felt like a lot of it. If I look back now, and I just have a little bit of insight, not a lot, just a little bit. But if I look back, um, it's because I wasn't. I felt like I wasn't getting what I wanted, and I felt like I wanted this marriage. I wanted him to be my knight in shining armor, and I've told my coaches before that I feel like I lose myself as soon as I get married, and so whatever I was doing beforehand, it's lost, and I don't know how to. Um, I don't know how to do things on my own, or I feel that it's not right because I'm married. I should be doing everything with my husband. So that was something very new, very new, very hard to get used to that.
And this is especially painful because you're obviously someone that you're the marrying kind, right? You like to be married,
Hmm.
and yet it also felt kind of torturous as soon as you got married
Yes,
because all of a sudden, what happened to Laura? Laura's gone.
yeah,
We don't. There's no one kind of tending to your needs. It sounds like it was more about your obligations as a wife. It sounds like.
yes, yes. I got that so mixed up. Like I immediately thought I had to be this good wife, and so I immediately came in and like, oh, I'll just wash the clothes, right? And I remember hearing one of your podcasts that you don't have to do that. You know, he wants a lover, not a mother. But I just thought that was my role, and I shared with my coaches before that I know he likes to drink a certain brand of Coke. He likes Coke Zero. So I was going to be that great teammate and partner and go and stock us up on all this Coke Zero so he'd never have to, buy any of that. But then I wasn't receiving any thanks for that. I wasn't receiving any acknowledgement. And then all of a sudden I just felt like I didn't want to do that anymore. But a lot of resentment was popping up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can identify with this so much. And I don't know where we got these messages. This is, being a wife means doing the laundry and stocking up on the drinks he likes.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking the same thing, and then being resentful, and then that coming out sideways, and then having these big fights and these big blowups. And also, like you, Laura, just having my bags packed and just thinking,
Yeah.
well, how will I get out if I need to get out? I might need to get out, right? I think
Hmm.
I might need to leave. And I know for me, like I kind of built up a case about all the things that were wrong with my husband and why I
Hmm.
had made a mistake. And it sounds like that was something that
Yeah.
also happened for you.
Yes. Yes.
And
He
so what
was
were
doing,
yeah,
yeah,
go
he was
ahead.
doing so many things. Now, again, like I say, I just got this little tiny bit of awareness, but he was just doing so many things for my family, but that still wasn't good enough. Because I was like, what about me? What are you going to do for me? Like, I want to go on these walks. I want to go to uh, I want to like read together at night. I want to do these really connecting things, and I just I couldn't see all the good that he was doing.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you were experiencing some loneliness and
Mhm.
maybe some overwhelm with being responsible for everything. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. And so so you were looking for the exit a little bit, at least in your journal, you were.
yeah. Hmm.
And yeah, and it just sounds very heartbreaking because in order to get married a third time, you have to be pretty hopeful and optimistic. Like, no, this time it's going to be different,
Yeah. I
right?
really thought it was. I really thought it was. I had in between the second marriage and the third marriage, I thought like I had done some work on myself. I was diving into things. Like I was involved in a children's ministry at church. I mean, I was had a lot of girlfriends going out and doing stuff, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll go on this date. Hadn't been on a date, and then we ended up getting married. So I really thought I was ready. I had no idea. Literally, I had no idea
Right? And
what I was doing.
did you experience him changing from the time you were courting to the time that you got married? Like the dating part, he was one way and then he seemed like another way after you got married?
Yes, I felt like that. I felt like as soon as he would either leave my house, I would leave his house, or I felt like the courting was great, and he was talkative and he was affectionate, and there was I love yous being said, and um, we get married, and then I felt like I saw a change in him. Like he was not even really texting me too much anymore, not really calling me. There was no hand holding. I felt like I was kind of begging for that stuff. Like hold my hand when we're watching a movie, hold my hand while we're walking, give me a kiss at night. I felt like I was begging for that stuff, and then I felt degraded. I felt like, why am I begging for this? And then I just spiraled and thought, oh, I made a mistake. I need
I
to
made a
go.
mistake. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I can relate so much. Well, Laura, so what happened? So you came to the challenge. What did you what insights did you have or what did you realize that maybe you hadn't realized before?
Um, I was kind of confused on some stuff. I was on a lot of group coaching calls, um, as many as I could be on while I'm still working. But I was really confused on still the disrespect. I was really confused on what does being on his page mean? And I really appreciated when I was on a group call and a lady would ask for coaching. I really, really liked how the coaches, and even in my own coaching, they bring it back to my page. I thought that was so amazing because my girlfriends and any therapists that, because we saw a therapist, a marriage counselor, um, and everybody, it was either I was getting pounded on or my husband was. And with my girlfriends, I felt like, of course, they're going to agree with me. But I really liked how the coaches brought it all back to, go back to your page, Laura, go back to your page. And what is it that you're doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I didn't realize you'd been to marriage counseling too. You were really trying to fix things.
Yeah.
Um, but it sounds like it didn't wasn't really helping. Is
Yeah.
that right? Or no?
Yeah. No, and again, I don't know if it's because I have a tendency to run. If I hear something, negative. I don't think I do. I mean, some of my coaches have been telling me some, things, and I don't feel like I'm running from them, but I really felt like this particular counselor really just painted me in a very bad light, and I didn't like it. And I guess my husband would still see her, not with me, and he told me that she said that I'm never going to change and not to divorce me.
Oh,
So,
oh,
so I haven't. I've been going to you in your program, and
wow.
I really,
Wow. Gosh, how awful to hire someone to save your marriage and have them tell your husband to divorce you. And also for her to not have faith in you, right? She didn't see the best in you. She, because I'm hearing you say, like, I don't think I run, but that was kind of how she labeled you. And clearly your commitment's really big because here you are. Not only did you come to listen to the podcast, then come to the challenge, then join the program and listen as much as you could. Now you're here sharing your story. You're here paying it forward. So it seems like your commitment is enormous to me.
yes, especially now that I'm realizing so much more that is on my paper. Um, I have been apologizing, the Laura Doyle way, but I have so much more to apologize. But like I said, it just seemed like just recently there was that shift that about just me lacking. I can't give something that I don't have or that I don't know about, and so that's why I'm really excited to learn and to get this stuff pointed out. And I'm gonna fail, and but at least I know. I still have questions about certain things. Even a group call that I was on this morning at 7, I have stuff written down for Coach Tammy when we meet again. Um, because there's just I'm not sure on all of it yet, but
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Today's
I
my
mean,
birthday, and it's
oh,
been a wonderful birthday where the last two have not been. So
oh, happy
yeah,
birthday, Laura. Okay, well, I'd love to hear that sounds like a split screen, like the before and after, right, of the kitchen remodel. Like
yeah.
here's the old
hmm
kitchen and now here's the new kitchen. So what were those last two birthdays like?
Oh gosh, those okay. So birthdays to me are for me, I will celebrate sometimes the whole month. I will just go and do stuff with girlfriends and my kids. I have two grown kids, six grandkids, and my mom, my brother. Um, but as soon as I get married, or as soon as I got married, I looked to him to plan something. I wanted him to show me he loved me by
Mm.
planning something really special. Because I can plan something special for myself, but now that I'm married, I wanted him to do that. And I had put so many expectations. I clearly see that now, what I was doing, so many expectations. Um, and so each year I felt like I was waiting around for him to ask me to do something. Are we going to go here? Are we going to go there? In the meantime, my phone is going off with text messages. Hey, Laura, what are you going to do? You want to go to lunch? You want to go to breakfast? You want to go here? You want to go there? And I'm sitting here waiting for my husband because I think that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to see what he wants to do first. So there's a lot of resentment these last couple birthdays. But since joining your program and this birthday today, it's been amazing, amazing.
What have you been doing to celebrate your birthday?
So yesterday we went to church, and this is kind of like when we were dating before. So when we met, um, we met in 2019, and then we dated for about a year. But then in March of 2020, the pandemic hit, so we couldn't do anything anymore. We would go on these long drives, and we would, in and out. I mean, drive-throughs were still open, right? Like fast food places. So we would go through a drive-through, and he would just find all kinds of places to go. And so that's what we did yesterday, and it felt really good. And I felt like I was just like I was when we were dating. Like, where do you want to go? You're the driver. I'm just gonna sit here. All I said is that I'm hungry. At some point I'd like to eat. But other than that, we enjoyed it. We went out to LA to the Beverly Center, and I got a pair of shoes that I wanted, and I mean it was just wonderful. We went to go get something to eat. It was a great day. This morning, We were supposed to go on another long drive, but the weather kind of canceled that. I didn't want to get stuck in the rain.
Yeah.
And but I've just been home. I went to go get a haircut. These are new bangs.
Pretty.
But
Pretty.
we it's just been great. It's been
Now,
great. He came home. It
why did
was nice.
he do all these nice things this year when he didn't the previous years?
I don't. I All I could say without getting on his page and not bashing him is that I'm the one who was light and I had no expectations. Like I was gonna go. I just shared with him, yeah, I think I'm gonna go get my hair cut, and one of my granddaughters shares my birthday as well. And I was like, I'm gonna go and get a pair of cowboy boots for her. We're getting into this cowboy theme. We were watching a show about cowboys, and so we were getting into this cowboy theme. And so, so then I went to get my hair cut, and he went to the mall, and it was no big deal. I wasn't all upset because he wasn't with me. I just feel like after being in your program and listening to the group coaching calls and getting my own coaching, that it's okay. It's okay for me to do something separately outside of him. Where these, all this time, these last few marriages, I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I felt like I had to be 100% available for him and just be his yes wife
Mm.
and it just changed my whole perspective on everything. Being independent, I worked hard and I made my own money and to try to share that. I still need to listen to the financial intimacy module because I still have a few questions about that, or I think things get a little unfair. But I'm learning and I'm willing to try.
Yeah. Well, this is awesome. You are amazing. It sounds like you've really transformed your marriage from where you felt like where you felt lonely and kind of resentful and unloved, and now sounds like you're feeling cherished and adored. Yeah.
I am, and today for my birthday, he got like a small little piece of cake, and we shared it. And he served me ice cream. He gave me a beautiful card with I don't even know how many gift cards were in there, all the places I love to shop. It was just yeah, adored and cherished. That's what I wanted, and that was it. And whether he did that or he didn't do that, it was this year. It was today. It was okay. It was good. It was
Wow. So it sounds like that resentment kind of left somehow. And I hear you've been apologizing and also letting go of expectations. Um, but what happened to the resentment? Like, was it gone or and where did it go?
it. It's like I said, some things I still have to work that out, but the majority I have learned that if I set an expectation, I'm just kind of setting myself up for that resentment. I mean, I already have the whole scenario worked out in my head, and then it doesn't happen that way, and then I am just one big resentful mess. So, but I just know that I have to look. I take a second. I try not to be so reactive. I used to be very extremely reactive, and I'm not saying that I'm not, but I'm aware of that now. Um, and I have to take a look and see, was I on his page or what was going on here. I have a lot to think about. I have a lot to kind of process. Right? And like I
Yeah.
said, and I don't do well with apologizing. I don't like to do it. I will do it, but I'll just duct tape so I don't have to do it. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's right,
You know
but
what? To this day, I mean, I'll just think, oh, I got to
I know.
apologize. Like,
Yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
want, after over 20 years, you'd think I'd be really good at that, but I don't like to do it that much either. And so, okay, so I hear you talking about the duct tape, which is, and for the new people, we kind of joke about like using duct tape over our mouths, right? So that we're not saying things that we might owe an apology for later.
Hmm.
But can that also make you feel, I don't know, like you don't have a voice or like can that make you resentful? Just like, keeping it all
Yes,
inside?
yes, yeah, I can. And so that's when I have to wait a little bit. And I just recently, signed up for the Diamond program, and so I have a list of stuff to write down for Coach Tammy. I don't know if she's on this call, but we got lots of questions. And So, but
Talking, yeah.
and so um, what I what I have realized is that I don't have to have all the answers right now, and I need to really figure out where this resentment is coming from, so that if I feel like something is not fair or why do I have to do all the work, I have to just sit back and try not to be so reactive
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, right? Because I know for me, like I have things to say. I want to be able to
Yeah.
say them.
Mhm.
And you're the same way, right? But it does sound like I mean, would you say that your husband has changed in these whatever it's been 5 months?
No, no, I don't think so. No, he
Okay.
is. It's pretty amazing. He is really consistent. He is that, and he even said that about himself. That he's very consistent. Um, and so I would say he hasn't changed. He's been the same. He's been the same. Um, and just I would say within these last couple days, especially, I've seen the fun side of him. He's smiling, I'm smiling, we're joking. It's very lighthearted, um, and it's just not. Before, I guess I was just always so prickly. I was always so like on the defense all the time. Like he never knew how to approach me. Um, and so it's only been 2 years, but I made quite a few mistakes in this 2 years that I could see. And in a way, I'm glad it's only 2 years. I don't have, so much to make up for, but I still got a lot.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just love your accountability and your vulnerability is so endearing, Laura. So thank you so much for that. Um, what would be your tip to someone who was where you were, where your birthdays are not going the way you want? They're just a big disappointment, and now you're feeling cherished and adored, and she wants what you have now. What's your best tip for her? What should she do?
Um, I think that she should still go and uh, do lots of self-care. Like her birthday, that's her day to do self-care galore. And so I would say still go and do that self-care. It's hard, especially if you want your husband to celebrate with you. But to still go and do that self-care, whether he's um, going to be celebrating with you or not. And I also to wait just a little bit. Like even this morning, the first thing I love birthdays. I love everybody else's birthday. So the first thing I'm going to do in the morning is happy birthday, right? And I didn't get that. I haven't got that. I didn't even get that today. But I was like, it's okay. It's all right. You'll be okay, Laura. And then he says a little later, so how does it feel to be, I'll just say it, 54 years old now? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, I think that was his happy birthday, right? That's his
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
his guy way, I think.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a little different than your way.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I love your girl of fun and light, like happy birthday would be
Yeah.
your way, but it sounds like you got open to his way
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
and that bringing that little piece of cake and everything was
Hmm.
his way of
Hmm.
acknowledging. And so and so it does sound like your own self-care has played a big part in you getting such a much better response from him than you were getting before
Yeah, and
too.
that was actually it's still kind of hard. I still really do my best for self-care because I work uh two jobs basically, but I'm also in school full time right now and I won't be done until November. So it's really hard to get a lot of self-care in, but right now I've been on a break from school and so I've just been doing as much as I can. And then just little things lighting candles, sit and maybe I'm going to get up a half hour early if I can and read. But just doing those little things have been really helpful. And then not expecting him to have to be there with me every single moment, doing all of it. But before I would want to go for a walk, and I just thought it was so romantic. And I felt like we were part of a team if we went together. But now I can just do it by myself.
Yeah.
And I just feel like your program has shown me that it's okay to do that. Like you have permission to go and do things by yourself. So when you're married, when I'm single, I have so much fun. But when I'm married, I have permission to, do things by myself.
Yeah, it's interesting how we make that mean, like, oh, it has to look like this, or
Yeah.
else we have to be miserable. And but you don't sound miserable anymore. So that's pretty great. So, what do you think if you could go back in time and tell Laura what you know now, tell yourself what you know now, what do you think you would say to yourself?
Um, if I could go back and tell myself, uh, I would say, um, and I had your skills, I would say to myself to just really dive into these, um, and um, and everything will work out, and just how these skills are so vital. They're vital uh, for all of us ladies and for our marriages.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. What's your favorite skill right now?
Um, my favorite skill is there's a couple of them. I do really like self-care. I do really like that a lot, even if it's just going to a local makeup store and buying myself something there. Watching a show, I really do like self-care.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
great answer. Well, Laura, congratulations on, and I just want to acknowledge too, right? After two divorces, and I really hear that you were right there, feeling like maybe you made a mistake again. Uh, in some ways, it would have been, I don't want to say easy, but I guess tempting, right? To end your
Mm-hmm.
marriage. And instead, you've done this whole other thing that might have seemed pretty counterintuitive
Yeah.
when you started, maybe a little crazy, right? It seemed a little crazy to
Mm-hmm.
me when I first started. And I just know how much courage that takes. So, congratulations. It sounds like you have made your marriage last, and it's thriving. Like you're having a great birthday and feeling loved. And I also think I just hear you feeling really hopeful about your future with this wonderful guy you've got. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's very inspiring to hear about what's possible just in 5 months, just in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really hear you're going to keep going, and
Yeah.
you've got more questions, but the
Yeah.
future of your marriage looks bright. So, congratulations, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much.
Well done. Yeah. Thank you. If you'd like to be my guest on the Empowered Wife podcast and share about how you fixed a struggling relationship using the 6 intimacy skills, I would love to interview you. Just go to lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest to let me know that you are willing to make a big contribution to ending world divorce by telling your relationship story. I look forward to meeting you. That's lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest. Listen and subscribe to the Empowered Wife podcast. Next week, I'll reveal 3 common but unrealistic expectations in marriage. In the meantime, I hope you're having lots of fun. Today's fun fact is that being alive is all about getting so much tea and putting it in a row in my tea caddy.